Jerry in Ohio. Jerry's a theist, pronouns are he, him, and wants to talk about observational science. So welcome, Jerry. What's up?
Thank you. I just want to say hello to everybody. The question I have for you is, these people are ghost chasers and they have these devices and everything. Do you believe those devices are real or fake?
Okay.
I mean, they're devices.
Yeah. Paul and I this is the thing. I'm definitely more of an asshole than Paul will ever be. But our brains do the same thing. We both believe those are real devices. Neither of us are convinced that those devices can detect the things that those people think they're detecting.
Okay. Because I was watching one of them, and there was some type of, they had two types of cameras. They had a regular camera, and they had a thermal camera. And there was something in that hallway, kind of looked humanoid. But what was strange is where that humanoid was, or whatever that thing was, the air was 20 degrees lower than the rest of the room.
Okay. So let's assume, now I have a thermal camera downstairs. In part because we keep reptiles. So I have a number of things to both measure and detect UVA, UVB. I have a number of temperature guns where you can just point it and the little laser thing will tell you what the temperature is. But I also have a camera which can film areas. Now, and it puts up the color spectrum image to show where the hot spots are and shows temperatures and everything else. I can say I haven't seen the specific one you're talking about, and I am not an expert on those cameras. But when you say, do I believe that those devices do what they say they do? Do I believe that they have a camera that to varying degrees accurately measures temperature in an area? Sure. What conclusion can we draw from there being a cooler spot in a thermal photograph of a hallway?
I'm not sure.
Me neither. And yet these people seem to think that they've detected a ghost. How do we know whether or not ghosts are warmer or colder, whether or not ghosts show up on thermal imaging? How do we know any of that?
That's true. That's a fair question. Here's something else that I personally experienced. 2003, I came home after work, and my brother-in-law met me at the car, and he said, "You're going to have to do something." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Your son, the youngest one, tried to kill the older son with a knife." And I said, "Well, what happened?" He says, "Well, it took all three of us to subdue him." So what I did right away is, being a Christian, I had some friends that's, I consider veterans. But what happens is they prayed over him and nothing changed because he had this extremely evil look on his face. And what happened so we went back home. I started looking through the Bible, looking for an answer. And the son, the oldest one, just looked at him and said, "I just wish that horrible look is off of his face." And then the next thing I know, he comes running into the room, and he stops right in front of my wife and says, "Mommy, don't let him get me." And she says, "Who gets you?" And something, I don't know how it happened, but it looked like something invisible grabbed him by the neck, raised him 1 foot up in the air, and threw him 3 feet back into the wall. And then what we found, my sister-in-law, she said, "There's something in this house that doesn't belong." And I said, "Whatever it is, find it." So she went to his room, the youngest one, and she finds a pouch. And there's a crystal in there that's lavender color. And everybody that looked at it I felt nauseous when I looked at it, and so did everybody else. So we ended up throwing that in the river, and we had no more experiences like that after that. So, I'm not, that's the experience I have, and I'm just still trying to, figure it out.
Okay. Are you saying you actually saw your kid levitate a foot up into the air and then launch 3 feet?
Yes, I saw it. My wife saw it, and my oldest son saw it.
Okay. How would anybody else confirm this?
Like, you mean outside? Someone outside the family?
Yeah, I mean,
Because I was going.
I cannot demonstrate that you're not being honest. You may be being completely honest. You may be exaggerating a bit. You may be, only embellishing a bit. I have no way of doing it. If nobody outside has any way to confirm that this happened, what's the next step that we would do? How could we possibly investigate this? Even for those of you who saw what you say you saw, how would you investigate to find out how or why it happened?
Well, I can only tell you what I believe. I repeatedly told my son to stay out of the woods that we're close to because I was afraid of predators. But that's where he found that crystal at. And he snuck it in the house, and that's when his personality started changing. He became violent, angry, but after that night when he got thrown against the wall, he was like back to normal.
At best, that's correlation at this point. So,
okay.
Yeah. So one of the things is, I really wish you hadn't thrown the crystal away, because it seems to me that if I found a crystal and everybody who looked at it got nauseous, it would be worth taking it somewhere to get it investigated, right?
Right.
Why wouldn't you do that?
Well, I'd have to find that crystal's in a river right now. So, but I did.
Why didn't you do it the first time?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Why didn't you do it the first time?
And poison the water supply potentially.
Okay, I'm having a little trouble. You're fading in and out on me. Is that better? Can you hear me? Okay.
Oh, we hear you just fine. I'm saying,
okay, I can hear you.
Maybe I'm weird, but if I found a crystal in my house and everybody in my house who looked at it got nauseous, there's no way in hell I'd go throw it in a river. I'd box that sucker up and take it to somebody to investigate it, to say, why is this crystal apparently making people nauseous? Is it emitting some kind of radiation? And by the way, does it have the same effect on other people? Maybe it's not the crystal. Maybe the crystal just happened to be there and there was something else that was making you nauseous. I don't understand why people wouldn't investigate it.
Well, because, I mean, when you're in a situation like that, your adrenaline's going, and a lot of times you don't think 3D or whatever, or think outside the box. But the only thing is, I do have a friend, she's into crystals, and she told me stay away from the lavender one. She said all the other crystals are okay, but stay away from that one. And I don't know, I wish I could get her on here, but
it doesn't matter what your friend says, because in the entire history of the world, nobody has ever demonstrated that any crystal or any particular colored crystal has any sort of supernatural effect. Never. So what your friend says about the purple ones is irrelevant until they can demonstrate that there's something actually there. You know, when you ask your friend who's into crystals about crystals, that's like asking your friend who's into tarot cards what the tarot cards mean. Tarot cards are pieces of paper. They don't have any impact on anything.
I think I lost you. I think I lost your call here.
No, I'm just here.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear us?
I don't know. Must be something wrong with my internet or something. But yeah, like I said, I wish I'd go back in time and do that.
What's strange? Like I said, what's strange is while the various claims about crystals are never demonstrated or confirmed, when I Google lavender stones right now, this site says that lavender stone is a dynamic and active stone that will both calm and energize you when you need it, which is literally an incredibly stupid statement to say that it will both calm and energize you. But it says it gives off important energy that will help you make use of your imagination to the fullest. So maybe the lavender stone just made you imagine things.
That's a possibility.
No, you don't get to say that it's possible that the stone impacted your ability to imagine things. You have to demonstrate that that's a possibility. This is what we're doing. Until you demonstrate that there's some reason to think that that stone did anything, it's not a candidate explanation for anything. And you took the only physical piece of potential evidence in the entire story and threw it away.
Now, I just consider it a normal reaction because that's what I saw as the instrument of the problem. That's,
What if you're wrong? And what if you're right? I mean, if there was something in my house that was causing people to get sick, why would I go pollute the water stream, as Paul was pointing out with it? I mean, I don't know what to tell you, Jerry, other than you have no way to demonstrate any of the things you suspect to yourself or anybody else. And none of us have any ability to investigate it. You threw away the only piece of evidence that we have or would have had to support even your speculation, and no way to confirm anything else. So maybe, I guess, either hope that it never happens again, or hope that if it does happen again, you learn how to investigate better. But in the end, it just ends up being another story that I have no reason to believe is accurate.
Okay. Well, I respect that.
Okay, because it's not me. I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just saying I don't have any reason to think it's true.
That makes sense. All right. Well, I tell you what, I want to thank you for having me on your show, and I really appreciate the time being here.
And next time you're at a party, if you have both of these stories, don't open with it was cold in part of the room story. Open with the other story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yes, you're absolutely right.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jimmy Snow, executive producer of The Line, and the rumors are true. Forrest Valkai is, in fact, a hostage in my basement. If you would like to contribute to his freedom one day, you can do so by supporting us over on Patreon or becoming a channel member. There are specific tiers for specific shows or the channel at large. You can also send us super thanks. Those are great. You can like, comment, and subscribe. Also, fudge the algorithm. Go to one of these things. The algorithm doesn't matter. It thinks it knows you better than we do, better than you do. I know you better, Hank. There's a bunch of people named Hank. I just freaked way out. Okay, go to one of these.